Welcome to the Oz Champs podcast by the local game, brought to you by Macron Sports Hub Adelaide. Get your gear ready for 2026, or get them now. Get some gear ready for summer as well. Their shorts are awesome. Not wearing them today though, but I do wear them in the sunshine. And talking about sunshine, the sunshine of my life, these two guys are joining me once again. I'm Johnny Kecko alongside Antonio Spagonis, Simon Jimenez. Boys, another week. We're halfway through the regular season, group stages of this championship. Lots to talk about, but how's your week been, boys?
It was good. Actually, speaking of the championship itself, I had my first Friday night at home watching it,
yeah.
And it was good. It was something I was really looking forward to. Friday night here in Adelaide last week, it was a beautiful day, and I was thinking if only there was a club I could go to that had a barbie on or something that I could watch the game on a big screen. Wasn't to be, and the game ended up being a fizzer, but hey, part of it's the anticipation.
That's when you get your Olga's Javapi and turn the Weber on, chuck it on there. It's the smell, get the real authenticness happening. It's easy.
Yeah, you got to create your own vibe, don't you?
Big week this week, especially for Adelaide, with MetroStars getting their first win and scoring their first goal as well. So that was a huge game. Talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about the other team in the group stages that got them in the second round. The dark horses, I believe, Bayswater. 2 wins, 1 draw. They're one of 5 teams to be undefeated so far in these opening 3 rounds. Would you agree? A dark horse heading into this halfway mark?
Yes and no. I think the other thing, we can't discount the fact that it's quite an away trip to go to Perth as well. And so far, they've had 2 victories at home. Metros have had to travel there from Adelaide. Uppy has had to do that all the way from New South Wales. Maybe initially it's a little bit of an advantage to come up against those 2 sides at home. But even still, they're up in that list of undefeated teams, so good on them.
To beat Up Here, though, that was a massive win because we thought Up Here were going to come away with it and be 3 from 3, but they managed to do it. Antonis, you got thoughts on this?
What you see with them, if you see the ladder of the local MPL league, they're very good defensively. I think they only conceded like 16 goals all season. We're really getting that across how hard they made it for both MetroStars and RPA to score. And they've just been able to find those crucial goals, and it's got them where they've got them. Do they have the quality to do some damage moving forward? Again, debatable, but once you get into the knockout stage, just to bring it together for 90 minutes.
Yep.
So, again, I'm Greek. Greece 2004 did exactly that. You don't have to be an amazing team for 6 months, 12 months in a tournament like this. You just have to put a few strong performances together, and you get away with it. And again, we talk about the gap between the MPL and the A-League closing, but now this is all MPL. So what's the gap between these MPLs, are these top MPL sides between each other? It might be even smaller, so that might work to their advantage.
Bayswater specifically, though, can they string together performances away from home when they're travelling from west to the eastern states consecutive weeks? I think that'll be a big question mark.
Well, it was the 93rd, 94th minute win, equaliser against Sydney United from that throw-in. So
that'll be part of Bayswater law.
Yeah, Sydney United will be strong because they haven't got a point since then either. So it's they're been a bit disappointing as well. I think let's talk about the 2 teams we probably were looking to see, or we were expecting to see perform well. 2 foundation clubs as well, Preston and Sydney United, both struggling at the early stages.
Yeah, well, I think the press was pretty heavy on Sydney United last week. They were not happy with their performances. And I'm not sure if it was a little bit of a statement on the weekend that their crowd didn't look great as well. I heard there was other cultural events for the Croatian community in Sydney then, so maybe that affected. But yeah, even still, it's a little bit disappointing seeing where they're coming from. And I mentioned at the top, it was a little bit of a fizzer Friday night with Preston. That one ended up being a 0-0 draw. They were at home Friday night. I would have thought that would be their moment to really shine. It wasn't really to be. It was a competitive game, but there was just nothing to latch onto in terms of goals in the end.
Yeah, and 2 very different situations, of course, because Preston are almost like the almost team in this competition. They've been close multiple times. We remember the first round against NWS. It was really their game to drop points, and they dropped points there right at the death. Sydney United, though, it's...
Whoops.
You're right there.
Sydney United, though, is really inexcusable for me. They're a team that has known they wanted to be in this competition for a while. they've really put themselves up in recent years as one of the biggest non-A League sides. They made the Australia Cup final. Even a couple of months ago, they were drawing big crowds in the Australia Cup against Sydney FC, but it seems like it completely fell flat. And I reckon if you get some insiders there that actually know the ins and outs, you could record a very lengthy podcast about the going-ons, about what's happened there that off-season. Because from the outside looking in, you're just scratching your head because you're thinking, really? You're going to be the disappointment here?
That's a room I'd love to be in, just an honest conversation between some of the stakeholders. At Sydney
Yeah, I don't know if I
United.
want to be in the room. I don't know if it will be safe, but definitely would like to know what's going on in there.
Not all doom and gloom in Preston though. Two draws. They're only 3 points away from top spot, so it's very tight that group as well, Group C. So anything can still happen for them. So it's one win this weekend could just change things around.
That's, I guess, the beauty of the format, the old Champions League format, that one win can kind of change everything. And again, we'll talk about MetroStar soon, but it was all doom and gloom. And it's not quite solved yet because Bayswater didn't do them a favour by winning. But again, they're suddenly looking alive in that group.
And then top of the group stages at the moment is 3 Victorian clubs in Group A, B, and C, all top in the table. So as Victorians are shining, are really what do you call it, waving the flag in this competition at the moment.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a bit of a conversation at the start. I guess one of the subplots, who was stronger between New South Wales and Victoria, and at the moment, looks like Victoria might be just keeping their nose in front.
Well, NWS Spirit, we've got to mention that equal points with Avondale. So anything can happen this weekend. But NWS playing Preston. So if Preston can win that, they'll be on same points as NWS. And if Avondale lose, even tighter.
Yeah, I mean, once you start looking at the table, it's tricky.
I love
because
it.
even though there's been 3 games, I sometimes have to stop myself from thinking all these what ifs because we are only halfway away from the group stage. There are teams that are emerging as favourites, but still a lot can happen, and those tables can really shuffle a lot.
And the other thing you have to consider is the way the fixture's been done. A couple have had consecutive home games, no an away game, and the others have had their away games. They're about to have their home games. So you have to consider the lack of travel finally hitting the road, what that's going to do to your form. Because remember, for these sides, an away game is usually half an hour to an hour tops in your cars. Now you're flying interstate. We talked about traveling all the way to Bayswater. Again, it can make a difference when you're
Metro got
traveling
the last
every
2
week.
games home now. So they are in the best position, I think.
Yeah, well, they've got other things to consider though as well. On
Yeah,
the field.
absolutely. But in terms of not having to worry about travel and all that, it could be a bit more settled.
Well, you know, if they manage to take away a point from up here, I know that seems like maybe it's a tall order, but, you know, it is possible. Then all of a sudden they're looking like potentially they're in the box seat. Of course, that is contingent on other results. But again, going back to it, when you've got a group stage with 4 participants halfway through, it doesn't take much for things to shuffle pretty dramatically.
And just what you were saying with that music I was playing before. You can guess the music. That was from the Australian Championship post, which was to do with the 2 Greek clubs not losing a game yet.
I recognise the sound.
Of course you would. You're the only token Greek in this podcast.
Token, man, I was born and raised there.
No, for this podcast.
It's true blue.
Yeah. 2 Greek clubs, 3 wins from 3. So that's Heidelberg and South Melbourne. So
And again, you've got South Melbourne are the poster boys for this competition because they've been banging on this door for a while. So again, the opposite of Sydney United, the way for this moment, they've taken advantage of it. And Heidelberg are just continuing that amazing Australia Cup form, aren't they? They just keep impressing. We know they made it all the way to the final, beating A-League teams. So I'm sure they'll be happy to take on anyone that knocks on their door.
it's ironic. AB, the group A and B, same as the AB that we love eating here in Adelaide. AB from the Greek.
For
Euros places.
anyone listening
yeah,
in
'cause
the
they're not-
States, it's the halal snack pack.
Which is
HSP.
not the kebab or the silva, what do they call it over there? Let's all get there
We
again.
won't go into the acronyms for the AV.
And C and D is also Italians. The 2 Italians top in there as well. So there you go. Avondale and Bayswater.
I thought you were saying it was an Italian word, like
No,
I
CD.
don't know, compact or disc or something.
So go ask one of those, maybe that 17-year-old that scored for Marconi what CD is. But you know,
Anyway, we're getting off track. Let's move into the next one, which is an Italian club as well. So I want to focus on, we spoke about entertainment the clubs have been putting on. But I want to talk about taking this league differently. We are trying to get people to come to the games, but clubs are looking at ways to try and promote it, EDMs and getting juniors out to their clubs. There's all different ways, bringing old fans back to the game. I think there's one take I really want to make is up here, I think, are doing it differently. Totally different take. And I never really thought about this, but they have got Sushi Mango going to their game this weekend against Metro, and they're selling VIP tickets to meet and greet as well. So not only are you're encouraging a different audience to come to this game to see Sushi Mango. So I'm sure there's people I know out there that would buy a ticket. If that was a MetroStars game, I know people that would buy a VIP ticket to meet and greet Sushi Mango in Adelaide.
I've got mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. I've got mixed
Italian just came out of you.
Wow. I've got mixed feelings about it, to be honest.
Yeah, why do they need them? Why Metro doesn't need Sushi Mango? Just get Simon. Opera and impersonations.
Mixed the feelings, so that's great.
I think, I've got mixed feelings. Firstly, I've got to say to Apia, they are the standout in terms of, I guess, taking this competition by the horns and trying to do new things to promote it. They're absolutely, I think, miles ahead than every other club in that space. Good luck. Well done to them. Well done for doing something a bit different. Some of the stuff really doesn't resonate with me, to be perfectly honest. It's not how I do it. I think there's a lot of other things that you could do with it as well. And some of those, Apia's done. I think they did a celebration of some of their club legends, which is fantastic. I know they put some special packages together for VIPs as well. Just another way to try approach selling the memberships and generate some revenue. I think that's really cool. But I think there's other things you could be doing, like different, mix other events around it, have different food trucks, a different match day experience. And one thing that does worry me a little bit as well is nostalgia's been a huge element in this competition as well. If we look forward, will that be enough to sell the Australian Championship in year 2, 3, 4?
Thinking outside the square with in regards to is outside the square or box?
They can be the same shape.
Same shape.
Thinks if it's real ones, Johnny.
Thinking outside the whatever. That's I think you need to think outside the square here, outside the box. Outside the box. Yeah, outside the box here. Oh, fuck. Far out. I've forgotten where I was going now with that. But
You're
anyway.
doing the nono thing now, mixing up sayings.
Yeah. You need to think outside the box because, like you said, nostalgia will only last them a little while. If you think outside the box and do type of events like this, brings people in, you're buying a ticket to go see Sushi Mango, you like the game, go, shit, this is actually decent. Let's go. Because you might have people you have a majority of people that will buy tickets for that are semi-football fans but not sold on this competition yet, or their club's not involved in it. And I think it's a great way of getting in there.
There's an element of trial and error with that too. As well. Not everything's going to be home run. But
Entertainment,
like you said,
pre-game entertainment is different. That's totally different.
Also, you're not going for the same people with everything you do.
Yeah.
You know? So the other thing is you're trying, again, when we look at the junior bases, they're very diverse. This is what you want to make your match days look like as well. Yes, you might be a Greek club, an Italian club, but if you're only going after Greeks and Italians, it's not really going to work out.
No.
So you need to make it
Sushi Mango is very diverse, though.
But you need to make it like a place to be, something you don't want to miss out on. So South Melbourne did that well with the vintage kits on the first day. They had the market there.
Put markets on.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
so
I think it's
just
great.
Have to be football stuff. It can be other stuff. Engage your community. Get a way to entice your juniors to come and support the club as well. Make that stuff connect. The other thing South Melbourne did was also they had a dinner after the put on, like they had live music there as well to really engage their own community. So there's many different things you can do. And again, when you talk about nostalgia, I get that as well. But some clubs, I reckon, like your South Melbournes, for example, moving beyond nostalgia, I think they've really hit that reset button those last 20 years. Even like a Preston, they're really like a strong standalone club right now that can live beyond nostalgia and they can use it as a bonus rather than an existential thing.
Yep.
So I think that's where clubs need to aim to be. But those are two of the stronger clubs that can probably survive this league, whatever happens.
I think the way Up here are tackling it, though, I praise them for the way they're doing it. It's great. It's saying different and it's outside the box. It's not football related. It is a football game. It's a football league, obviously. But it's good to get those different things just to try and bring a different crowd in, get people there and enjoying themselves. So
They've got ideas and they're seeing it through, and that's
Yeah.
that's what you need.
absolutely. Well, there was an Italian singer down not long ago, just the other day. Imagine getting him out to a game. Who was it? Albano.
Albano,
Yeah, Albano. He was here. So get him out to Metro. Let's ring him up. See if he can stay another week. Anyway, let's move into our final little topics as well. Antonis, you touched on it earlier a bit, but the turnaround from Metro, you surprised by that?
Yeah. So Metro, when we talk about these clubs like MetroStars who are not foundation members, they've qualified very often in their leagues. They've had a really strong season. We know MetroStars ran away with it. Grand final didn't really go their way. So adversity is not really something they're versed in. And again, as we see across the competition, it doesn't often work out your way in the grand final because you're not always that battle tested. And when that time comes, it can go one of two ways. Well, they have faced adversity now. They've played against some really strong sides, lost their striker before the championship began, lost Can Woodfin to an injury, Donatien Yankuru to an injury. And again, they were on track to lose the third game in a row. They were down against Sydney United, who it's not been their championship either, really. So after half-time, they could have really felt sorry for themselves, gone on to concede another one, maybe not score again. You're the high-scoring side that can't score. How heavy is that in your head? But to their credit, they really turned it around in the second half, played some really good football, scored a couple of goals, a really nice second goal as well to win it by Tom Visser, a nice play with Christian Sotira, and they've really breathed some life into their championship hopes. Will it go their way? Who knows? It's difficult now with Bayswater winning as well, but they're not that side anymore that's struggling. So almost you freed yourself from the shackles. So I'd like to see them play with some freedom now moving forward. Yes, there's some gaps with no Owen Windsor, but again, they've done what they needed to do. Now you've got a free hit for those last 3 weeks to try and make something out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And Simon, talk about MetroStars. They did struggle the first couple of games to score a goal. There's other clubs that have struggled in this league as well. Early days, but you were mentioning off air you had a scenario you think may help eliminate that.
Yeah, just a scenario that I guess I want to pose, and I'm not entirely convinced myself that this is the best way to go, but something worth, I think, discussing at least. Should there be some sort of playoff series across the different leagues to make sure that there's going to be the best representatives from around Australia in that? Now, unfortunately, it's going to sound like a bit of a knock on South Hobart. I don't mean it that way, but perhaps could there be more, I don't want to say deserving clubs, that's not the right word, clubs that would be more competitive from other leagues? Let's use SA as an example. Croydon FC, they came very close. In fact, they became champions in South Australia, or other teams in New South Wales or Victoria or even in WA. We've seen how competitive Bayswater are. What do you think about a playoff series where you get to make sure that everyone's really right up there and can be competitive and you don't see, clubs sort of being left behind?
I don't agree with that. I think the way it's done, the premiers of all the leagues automatically go in, gives them an opportunity to play on a national level. So you take that away from a team like Hobart if they just have a couple of games that struggle in. I don't know. Or you're going to take it away from Hobart if, as we know, they're probably not the strongest league compared to your Victorias and New South Wales. So if they have to come up against one of them, or I don't know, I think it's a great opportunity to be on a national stage. I don't know if we should take it away from clubs.
Yeah, I think, and it's also one of those things.
But I appreciate the different
The
talk.
question is,
Talking
where
point.
would you fit that in the calendar? You might have to do something like a hub almost, so you get that out the way in a week. But again, you have to find the funding to do it. But I'm just glad we got the league off the ground to begin with, to have a season, and then we can reevaluate.
And we got the opportunity to have this discussion because the league's off the ground.
So I think it's going to be a big reevaluation for everyone, foundation clubs, non-foundation clubs, Football Australia as well. How did this go financially? Where can we go with this moving forward? So I guess in the infancy of the league, everything's up in the air. So why not? But
How great is it, like, sitting there on a Saturday and turning on SBS? I've got internet inside the house, but the outside TV doesn't have internet. So just turning the TV on and watching SBS all day, and then remembering A-League's on afterwards. So I didn't leave the couch all day. was unreal.
I had a split screen going on Sunday watching 2 games at once. One was on the phone, one was on the tablet while I was cooking dinner. It was great.
But it was like 10 bold was free as well. So it was like I went from SBS to 10 bold and watched all night. Don't have to leave the TV all day. It's
But
great.
that's how you build new fans, like you think of yourself growing up and watching football. When you were 10, 12 years old, you didn't subscribe to your local rights provider and watch. You open the TV, you're like, oh, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is how you get the next generation. And
Mate.
of course, on social media now, you just have to meet people where they're at. And in this day and age, it's as important as ever.
Well, the only way I listened to LA United was at my grandparents' house. They didn't have Foxtel back in the day. I had to go to my nonno's outdoor shed toilet, and he had a little radio in there, and I used to listen to it back on, I think it was Life FM back then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I had to listen to LA United. I think it was Don Ronaldo on one of them. It was one of the stations, and that's how I used to listen to LA United.
Just to throw it back to something I said off the top, which was getting ready for the Friday night, and it's nice weather. You said, throw a few Chavapi on the barbecue and you might be ready to go. I'll tell you what, if you can lure some friends in with the promise of Chavapi and there's some entertaining football as well, then maybe that's the way to lure new fans to the game.
And you know what? Maybe you can raise a couple of sponsors as well, find a local park, and in a couple of decades, you can be in the National Second Division yourself.
Done, let's do it. 2027, the Oz Champs FC. I had to look at it again. Lastly, before we wrap it up, just very quickly, I saw in a press conference Tony Popovic talking about the league. Got asked about if he's watching it. He hasn't had time to watch it, but he's talking about the opportunity this is having on players that missed out on A-League on an A-League contract and go there and show what they can do. How great is it now that we've got this platform now? And who would you say has been like we saw Christian Satira being talked about as an LA guy, watching him being talked about at other podcasts interstate. It's awesome. But what do you think be the standout that's probably caught the eyes of some of these players, these clubs out there, and helped the most?
Yeah, we touched on it last week. Dom Costanzo was a name that we brought up. Tsakenis was another one as well. I mean, with the A-League going so young now, there's a bit of a danger that maybe some of these older players do get forgotten. But there's so many good players in the NPL that maybe hit their maturity a little bit later, mid-20s, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we mentioned that there's a big gap now in the A-League between young and experienced, and that's where a few of these guys can fit in to the A-League clubs. Not to be the star of the competition, but to be a really good player. Why can't you get a good player from it? And again, just in Australia, with how our league is, we don't have enough professional opportunities out there. That's a fact. So to be able to have another national spotlight is invaluable, because even if you don't go to the A-League, clubs can actually access this overseas, because it's not a random stream you have to find on the YouTube page or wherever it's being streamed. It's an actual national competition with sponsors, with the backing of your football body. So it's a big and official thing. So it provides more avenues, provides more spotlights for players, for clubs, for media. So it's what you want. We don't have enough of these opportunities. The more the merrier, and very glad to have it this year at this time of the year.
Who do you want to see get an A-League chance, though? Name one name.
Yeah, I have to go with Dom as well.
Yeah, Dom will be good.
He's just a guy who's had a couple of trials. He has been on Adelaide's list, probably not at a good time with how stacked the wings were.
Rumours with Wellington as well, I think.
Yeah, he trialled with them, so I would love to see him get an opportunity. Going outside my little bubble, maybe someone like Manny Agwick from South Melbourne. You watch him play and you're like, this guy's a complete forward. Like, some A-League clubs could do a lot worse. So you'd love to see someone like that get a go. But how great would it be 1, 2, 3 of these players get a chance? Already you got a success story from the championship. And
that's great for them.
And that's how you build it up,
And even coaches. You think we can finally see some coaches.
Well, Anastasiadis from
Heidelberg, step up
already. You watch him and you're like, why is this guy not coaching in the A-League? I'm sorry. He beat half the A-League in the Australia Cup.
We'll give it 10 weeks. If a coach is struggling in the A-League, they could hopefully go there, not just recycle.
Well, and I'm so respectfully to the A-League, they're also at the point that if a club comes knocking, you have to say, is this the opportunity I want to be in? Because I reckon the Central Coast Mariners are having that right now, just quietly. But we shall see.
Well, let's wrap this up, because we've gone way over time. And there's never nothing to talk about in this league now, is there?
Johnny, we always have a lot of stuff to talk about, but then some people start playing music as well, and it gets a bit out of control.
Sorry, mate. And some people just forget what sayings are out of the square, out of the box, out of the Pentagon. Think outside the Pentagon. There we go.
Yeah, the American defense.
We're going to wrap this up. This is the Oz Chance podcast by The Local Game. Bit more free and random than my other show, but this is great. See you next week, boys. Enjoy your football. I will be in Victoria where there's not one Australian Championship game this weekend. So, yeah, I'll be watching online.
Scare them away, John.
All right. Let's just hope in the little country town I'm going to be in has good internet with Vodafone because that's what I've got. And I'm going to be struggling watching SBS on that if there's no internet.
Sponsored.
Yeah. Vodafone aren't the greatest in the country, but...
All right, there goes your sponsorship potential.
but they're great in major cities. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Boys, cheers. Have a good one.
Thanks so much.
That's all. Thanks to Macron Sports Hub Adelaide. We're going to wrap this up. See you all next week.